So there's been MLB is right around the corner, and we're going to be doing a lot of A stuff. We'll probably talk about some Giant stuff since they're kind of there. But we're going to cover baseball. We're going to be developing some stuff that's, specific for the A's. So, we're going to show baseball a little bit of love. I know sometimes I get on here especially, and I get really upset with the A's. We're going to talk about that. Some things are going to stay the same. We're going to talk about the A's, and we're going to critique the A's and criticize the A's, but we do love this franchise and we want to see the A's do well, but we know we're probably in store for another 100 losses or so.
Maybe I don't know what you're talking about.
Do better.
I don't know what you're talking about. I saw Sander Bogarts in his new Padres uniform. I'm super excited for my Padres team, man.
I'm still debating what my second baseball team will be. So I am still taking applications, spring training.
Oh, you're still a free agent?
I'm still a free agent on my second baseball team. So pitchers and catchers report this week. It's getting mighty close to time to make a decision on that. So we'll stay tuned for how that decision goes and where I end up landing on my second baseball team this year.
Hey, if you want to come to San Diego, we have more room.
Yeah. It's certainly the application was filed and I'm taking it under advisement. We'll see how it goes. I certainly have a lot of love for the city of San Diego. I did live there for about a year, a long time ago, and had a blast. And I still have a burrito that haunts my dreams. It's so gorgeously beautiful, haunting. Like I think about it, It wakes me up in the middle of the night, and how I wish I had it, but
when
I don't.
The burrito became one.
Yeah, that's right. When two become one. That's right. Vince and the burrito.
Oh.
Okay,
but the application is still kind of making its way through upper management. Okay?
Exactly. I have to take all applicants in under advisement. I believe the Cardinals were also submitted. I told the Yankees not to apply, but somebody still submitted them anyway. So I have to. I forgot to shred their application, but I will after this episode.
All right. Well, we got some rule changes for MLB 2023. Vince, why don't you walk me through each rule?
All right.
Let's have a good old, is this good for baseball or bad for baseball?
Okay. So first up, there is going to be a 15-second pitch clock with bases empty, 20 seconds with base runners on. In the minor leagues, it shaved approximately 25 minutes off of the game time. So baseball is looking to pick up the pace. You tell me a 3-hour and 5-minute long game is now going to be 240. I'm kind of in, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm in on this rule. This is going to really pick up the pace and bring some excitement. What do you guys think?
I think it's you want to bring excitement and you want people to watch. Let the Savannah Bananas join the league. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Where's the petition?
Yeah, let them in, Manfred, you coward.
No, I think it's good. I think the only thing I don't like about it is I feel like some of these rules are like in place where like umpires can kind of get players to move along. I think people just like the whole no more Garcia Parra, untighten my gloves, retighten them, and hold on out of the batter's box, and
the batter can. They're actually there's also sub rules of that in place where once it's 8 seconds, the batter can't step out of the box, and so they have extra stipulations in place to try to counteract some of that stuff as well.
So
and
what
there's
happens
going to be
if they exceed?
You get charged with a ball
or a strike.
Yeah. If you're the batter messing around, you get charged with a strike. If you're the pitcher messing around, you get charged with a ball.
Correct.
Got it.
So it's affecting the count.
Yeah, I like it. I think it adds a little bit of pressure to kind of move things along. So I think it's good for ball.
Okay, good for ball, bad for ball. All right. All right. So there's also going to be allowed 2 pickoff attempts only. If the pitcher fails on the third try, the runner gets to advance a base.
Boo.
So they can try that third time. But if the base runner's back at first and it's safe, you're gets charged with a balk and it goes to second.
I mean, I'm ho-hum. It's clearly just to advance time and make the game faster. So
it's also to kind of encourage
it incentivizes
stealers
the stealing.
and
Yeah.
That's circling back to the action. Yeah.
The stolen base is one of the best plays in baseball that was taken away in this modern era. I really hope to see base stealers. And so I think it's good for ball.
Yeah. I mean, like when you see a player stealing a base, like it's exciting.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
I can see that. So if you try twice and you don't get him, that guy's probably running. Like he's probably running.
Right.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I'm now that I see it that way, good for ball. I'm good for ball.
Okay. So here's the next one. No defensive shift.
Immediately
Four
good for ball.
Four defenders on the infield, 2 on each side of second base. Obviously, you can have the shortstop shading like right up to the edge a little bit. So there's a little bit of a shift that can still happen, but you still have to have 2 players on either side of second base. And actually brought some stats with me for this. So in the year 2000 season, the team with the number 10 highest on base percentage was the Angels at 352. Okay. In 2022, this past season, the number 1 team in on base percentage was the Dodgers at 333. That's a difference of 20 points worse for a team the number 1 team is 20 points worse on base percentage than the number 10 team back in 2000. So we have really seen offense decline precipitously in the last 2 decades. So I'm really excited to see the defensive shift basically go away and get some guys on base, get some action, man. Like the 3 true outcomes is boring as shit. It may have got you wins in the long run, but it is just, it's a snooze fest, and I'm done with it, and I'm glad.
Yeah, that's immediately good for ball.
Good for ball. Absolutely.
Okay. So next rule to discuss is bases are now 18 inches instead of 15. So they're they're increasing the size of the bases by 3 inches. The bases themselves are going to be 4.5 inches closer to each other between first and second, second and third. And they're going to be 3 inches closer home to first and home to third. Just the way the size measures out, because home plate isn't changing in size. It's just first, second, and third. Obviously, this is in hopes to increase steals and add a little bit extra safety for the players. So that way, 3 inches in a game of inches, if you're, a millimeter off on a ball, that's the difference between a grounder and a single, So a game of inches, all of a sudden, these bang bang plays could be going the other way now. More base runners. Also, you have bang bang plays when guys are trying to steal second or steal third. So this is another chance to get steals up, I guess. We're trying to really encourage people to try to dare to go after Ricky Henderson's record. That's not going to happen, but could be fun to see more steals.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is going to affect on base percentage for just, getting to first.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Bang plays. Yeah, absolutely.
3 inches closer. That's
what I'm saying. You're able to catch the ball. So is it going to decrease on base percentage because guys are chugging as fast as they can, but it doesn't matter. The base is longer. So if the ball is getting to the mitt faster than it was.
Yeah, before. But it's a shorter run for the runner too. That's.
Well, it's not a short run from home to first.
It's 3 inches shorter. It's 3 inches
from
closer.
Home to first.
Yeah.
From home to first is 3 inches closer.
What Vince was saying is the home plate size didn't change. The home plate is the same size, and then first, second, and third
are increased in size. Yeah.
So it's 3 inches.
I think it's good for ball. I'm just curious as to what that measurement might happen for just first.
I don't think it affects the fielding part of it. I think it's definitely more of an advantage to the base runners.
I also wonder too, are we susceptible to more of like rolling your ankle because guys are so used to rounding a base that was a different size?
Well, they're saying this is causing less injury.
But
the minor leagues is saying
less
it's less
collisions and stuff like that.
Right. I get that. Yeah. But if you are running full speed and you're not paying attention because your whole life you run with the same base size,
maybe you slip on the base a little bit as you're making that turn.
Right.
I mean, maybe at first, maybe the first month or so, you might see some weird stuff happen circling around that kind of issue. But I
Yeah.
think the guys are going to get used to it pretty quickly. I mean, baseball players are creatures of habit, right? So I mean, old habits might take a little. They say it takes 3 weeks to learn a new habit or unlearn a bad habit. So I mean, I think at first we might see something, but they'll catch on pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it's good for ball, but it's not like the other rule changes we had were like that's a solid double. That was a solid double. Good job, baseball. This one, the incentivizing a stolen base home run. That's a good one. All right, good job. This one's like a bloop, like a little bloop single.
Yeah, a little Texas leaguer. Yeah.
Like-
Texas leaguer into right field. Yeah.
It's like, there's a difference of a solid single and a bloop single. It's like,
Well, what I'm hoping for, I mean, I think it's good for ball. What I'm hoping for is I want more small ball. I love because if you're able to bunt and then
Hey,
the bases are 3 inches
it
closer.
could change that. It could change
Exactly.
that. It
Yeah.
could change that.
Yeah, some of the quicker guys might be more willing to try to leg out a bunt. Absolutely. I'm on board, man.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean, maybe this might be I might be overthinking it, but I mean, if the bases are closer together by 3 inches, does that automatically increase the foul area?
No.
it's the
So
same
the
line.
base lines are staying the same. It's just
Okay.
the bases, because the bases are in fair play, in fair territory.
Right, right.
So the bases are just a little bit bigger.
Okay,
Well,
because I was
I
thinking, I was
mean-
like, would they bring in the foul line 3 inches to accommodate for
No.
the first and third being
No.
closer
Oh,
to
no.
second?
What you're
No.
getting at,
You want to
Tim,
keep that.
what
You're
you would
keeping that
do-
90-degree angle.
No,
Yeah.
what you're getting at, Tim, is like, let's say there's a bunt, right? Let's say there's a bunt and the ball is spinning. A player, if let's say it's spinning, we've seen these on bunts, it's spinning and it goes into foul territory.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a foul. But sometimes it'll spin and the third baseman will have no shot at making a throw. But if he's going to want it to go foul. So he's hoping it's going to roll foul. So it's going to change that situation by 3 inches, because if it goes behind the bag, it's like once it clears the bag, it's like a fair ball. So it's in front of the base, and it's the same thing for first. So it would change those situations, but I think that's like a 0.001.
Right, yeah.
percent.
Well, yeah, I was just like, yeah, I'll bring it up anyway because maybe they are
No,
going to change.
that's a good question.
change it.
No, it could. It could. That's
Yeah.
what I think. That's one of the things that's exciting about the rule changes is it is bringing a little bit of excitement to the game. And how is it going to change it? Because we mentioned it earlier. The A's probably aren't going to be very competitive, but they had some guys that, they're like was it Nick Allen? They're saying this guy's like a really good defender. He's an all right hitter right now. Is this
No, he's
going to
a
make him
terrible
a better,
hitter.
make
Terrible
him
hitter.
a decent hitter? Maybe like because he can play small ball, because he's a good defender. Maybe he can get on base a little more. Maybe he becomes a better base runner, can steal some bags because he's a shifty little guy from what I've seen. So how does this change, the money ball calculation of the current game? So I think, there's going to be some new math, the sabermetric stuff is not going to go away. So we're going to hear the percentages of all of this stuff, this year from all the ESPNs and all these pundits. We're going to hear
All the
these numbers.
pundits.
We're going to hear it all. But it's good. It's one of the good things they're doing.
All right. So next rule, this was actually announced earlier today on Monday. Position players can only pitch under certain circumstances going forward. If you're the team in front by 10 or more runs in the 9th inning, you can have a position player pitch. If it's 9 runs or less, use your bullpen. If you're a team trailing 8 or more runs at any point, you can use a position player to pitch, or if it's extra innings because you ran out of pitchers, they didn't want to take that away from you. So those are your 3 situations. You have to either be up big, down big, or extra innings to use a position player to pitch. So
Eh,
yeah,
I
I
feel like
mean,
it. I mean, if you're up by 7 and I can't use a position player, it seems kind of annoying, in my opinion.
yeah, that means go hit a 3-run homer so you can use the pitcher. I don't know, man. A position.
I don't know if
Position
we're
player
talking
pitcher.
about player safety, and these guys are throwing harder than they ever have before, and your team's down by 7 or you're up by 7, and you can't use a position player to save an arm, and then that guy blows out his fucking elbow because we weren't up by 1 extra run. I think that's bad for ball. That shouldn't even be in
Didn't
there.
Jose Canseco get hurt throwing a pitch or something?
Yeah, I mean, asking a position player to do something they're not accustomed to, like pitching, that could also be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're trying to save them on the other side too, I think. So I mean,
But those guys
think-
are throwing like 60, 70 miles per hour. Like they're
Yeah.
not throwing heat.
yeah, I mean, I say it's mid for ball. I'm neither good or bad on it. I'm kind of indifferent. I mean, that's where most of these guys were pitching anyway. It's not like they were calling in Mike Trout to pitch when you're down 1 run, I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah. So I mean, I don't know, man. I'm kind of
It's
mid on that one.
definitely I think this rule is meh for ball because it doesn't seem like it's creating any positive excitement. I think what they're trying to do is you got to use like pitchers to keep the game moving. You got to keep it competitive until a certain situation it gets out of hand. But at that point, it's like if you're going to use a position player, you're throwing the game, right? You're conceding defeat. Like you're basically saying like, we don't want to use anything. Let's just end the game. This is our tip of the cap of we would like to end this game.
This is the white flag. Yeah.
Either way, like if you're ahead and you throw your position player in there because you're up by 10 runs, like you're saying like, hey, we don't want to score anymore. We just want this game to end. Like at that point, just call the game. If
This
nobody
seems
wants to
so-
play the game,
There's no
just
mercy
call the
rules,
fucking
man.
game.
It's
This
not
seems
literally
so bizarre. Like,
You know,
why?
it's just so stupid. And I think that's what's irritating is that like we need all these rules to play a game, like or to
Yeah.
play a pro game.
I think the part of the idea is that guys were using them when they were down 4 and 5 runs.
right.
And so they wanted to make sure that you're definitely like this game is definitely done and you're just trying to get to the end. So
Right.
instead of I mean down 4 or 5 runs, that's a lot, but that's not completely insurmountable,
right.
So I think it's just trying to make sure that fans are getting as much of their money as possible. So
I think they
Their
should
money's
bring
worth.
back double headers, honestly.
yeah, that could be fun.
I
Everybody
miss
plays
that.
I actually
everybody
agree.
plays one doubleheader a year or whatever.
Yeah. I
actually
could be
miss
fun.
double headers. I miss going to the game, with my dad or got a bunch of friends and just hang out all day.
Yeah.
Come back for
Yeah.
the second game. Go
Yeah,
out and
be
go back
able to
in.
buy a beer in the 9th inning, instead
Yeah.
of having it cut off after 7, because you're still there for another 3 hours anyway.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'd be on board for that as well. The last rule that was also announced today, the extra innings runner has been adopted permanently. It was on a trial basis the last couple of years. The owners have decided that they liked it enough that they're going to keep it around. Gentlemen, good for ball, bad for ball.
For me, because there's no defensive shift anymore, it's good for ball. I think that is a fun little strategy that I think is going to be. It makes the game in exciting and nerve wracking. I'm okay with it now.
I'm okay with it. I actually think it's good for ball. I hated the rule when I heard about it. And I think we were one of the teams. I think the A's were one of the first teams to have to, play a game under this rule.
Mhm.
I
It was
think
early
like-
against Seattle. Yeah, it was
I
like
remember
early
it
in the
being
year.
really early. And I was kind of like, well, that's some instant entertainment.
I'll take the L on that one. All right.
Yeah, so it was actually, as a making the game matter, like, it definitely brought that. So I think that's good.
Yeah, and it also I don't know how many times, like maybe like 1 or 2 games this past year went to like 15 innings or whatever. We used to see a lot more of those kind of games
Yeah.
like routinely. So it's good to just get the game over with, and it really helps with that as well. Instant excitement, also instant runs, so
Yeah.
I'm on board.
And now there's no
Instant
shift. It's
excitement.
gonna be great.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So so as of February 13th, those are your rule changes, gentlemen. It sounds like we're on board with pretty much all of them. So that's great. Baseball is
I think this is one of the few times we have unanimously given baseball the thumbs up. Like there's always like they're probably going to do something in about 2 weeks.
I usually give baseball a finger up, and it's just not my thumb.
right.
There's one rule that they haven't implemented yet, and ever since I saw it in that movie Hook, I was like, man, that would make baseball so much more interesting. Just give the pitcher a musket.
Wait,
Make
Tyler,
this happen.
So the finger you put up, it's not the ring or the pinky or the pointer or the thumb. It's the one you put up when you don't give a fuck. Is that the one?
Yeah, it's when I'm an Eagles fan, I give up 2 Eagles.
Yeah. Fly birds fly, right?
Yeah.
Go birds.
Nice.
Okay. All right, so that's it for that bit, I think.
Yeah. Well, we got real quick Team USA Baseball World Baseball Classic roster announced.
Yeah, that's exciting. Mike Trout's going to play this year for Team USA. That's great. So is Mookie Betts, Kyle Schwarber, Kyle Tucker, Cedric Mullins. Those are your outfielders. Shortstop, we have Tim Anderson, Trey Turner, Bobby Witt Jr. Your third baseman is Nolan Arenado. That guy's pretty good, I hear. Jeff McNeil is going to play second base. First baseman are Pete Alonso and Paul Goldschmidt. And your catchers, they got 3 of them: TJ Realmuto, Will Smith, and Kyle Higas. How do I say that? Higashioka?
Yeah.
Higashioka? He's on
it's-
the Yankees. I actually haven't heard of this guy, if I'm being honest. I don't pay attention to the Yankees if I can help it.
I don't know if you guys know, but is the World Baseball Classic like how Team USA Basketball used to be, that you had to bring like 1 college player or something like that?
I don't know. I don't think so. No.
Hmm.
So the pitchers are going to be Adam Wainwright, Lance Lynn, Jason Adam, Daniel Bard, David Bednar, Kendall Graveman, Merrill
Yeah, that
Kelly, Nick Martinez, Miles Milakis, Adam Ottavino, Ryan Presley, Brady Singer, Devin Williams, and then lefties are going to be Clayton Kershaw, Nestor Cortez, and Brooks Raley. So not a lot of lefties. Almost exclusively right-handed pitching staff. So, and this is all going to be happening.
They got 3
during spring
Cardinals.
training. Yeah. A bunch of Cardinals, bunch of Astros on the team. Unsurprisingly, I mean, a couple of Mets players as well.
I'm obviously we're not Yankees fans, but Nestor Cortez is fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got that sweet, I don't know if he still has it, but he has that sweet mustache, and he was throwing gas. He came out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Team USA is going to obviously the Dominican roster, that one. I don't have it up. So if you're listening, take a look. But
Aren't you
I think
hoping
the
that the
Dominicans-
US finally does something good in this WBC? Like God,
they don't ever win it. Yeah.
Well, we
Never.
always send college players. We
Yeah,
sent
Mike-
college papers last time.
Mike Trout's playing this one, so that's great. I'm on board for that. It'll be nice to see USA actually trying this year, it looks like.
Yeah.
So that's great.
I wonder why. What was the incentive? Like, why were they wanting to do it this year?
I don't know, man. Maybe it could be something as simple as MLB is seeing an opportunity with all these new rule changes, along with trying to drum up some popularity for the sport in general in America. So you want to try to get your best players out there, and if you need to pay them a little bit extra or whatever, give them, if there's bonuses in their contracts or something for making the Team USA World Baseball Classic roster. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But I'm glad to see it.
Yeah,
When is it? Is it this summer?
Oh, no, it happens during spring training.
Oh,
Yeah, so I mean, they're gonna have a champion in March before the regular season starts, because they don't want to compromise the integrity of the regular season because it's not fair to make the Angels lose their only 2 good players, Mike
I guess
Trout and
I'm more concerned about the pitchers then, because pitchers they take some time to warm up.
well, yeah, I
Oh,
mean
yeah.
that's why we're
Knocked
looking
around
at
there.
16 pitchers are on the roster. And I don't think I think that there used to be rules in place, like starting pitchers can only throw a certain number of pitches in the first round
Or like
whatever.
3 innings or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's rules in place to help protect the guys, and this is a way for them to get stretched out while still playing for America or whatever country they're playing for.
I really wish that the MLB would just shorten the MLB season, because it's gotten way too far, and it's like in winter. It's
Yeah.
Well,
winter,
it's
yeah.
the
Winter
postseason
time.
being expanded is what's really doing it.
I think we
more
can
than
lose some
anything.
games. Like if we got rid of whatever the amount of interleague games are, right? What is that like?
Oh no,
17
they've
games?
expanded interleague this year. They changed the schedule up, so you're playing every team in baseball now this year.
But it used to be
Every
like,
team's it used to be 20 games. Now it's
Yeah.
up to like 46 or whatever. So they took away a bunch of division games. We're no longer playing the Mariners 19 times. We're playing them 12 times. So
I think if you took 20 games away, right? You shorten the baseball season, you're back in that October. It should be all wrapped up right before Halloween.
I don't
Yeah.
disagree. I don't disagree with that. I don't think that you necessarily need to take away games from the season. I think you can take away games from spring
Well, here's
training,
the thing. I think
and then you start it like
we
another
can
week
actually-
early.
I think if we took away games from the season, we could start spring training a little later, because we're starting in April. We could start a little bit later, but then you have more time with these things like WBC. Like you have a little bit more time in between seasons to get these guys ready to perform, because the WBC is essentially going to be their spring training.
So, why do you think that it's been tough for the U.S. team to get professional players to play for them all these years?
Well,
Because baseball is such a grind itself. Just tacking on more baseball, just really taxing on the
Yeah.
player.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
fair enough.
it's a combination of that. Some guys are, they're coming off of injuries that ended their prior seasons in the past, so they really can't go hard in the paint to try to make it on a Team USA roster. When they're just trying to get into just regular baseball shape. Because they've been out since July or whatever with an ACL or something. I mean, whatever
there's
the
also-
injury may be.
There's
The-
also no
the-
money involved either, though.
Well, yeah, and yeah, the reason why I bring it up is because it seems like with basketball, like you hear about all these stars, you're like, yeah, they're playing for Team USA, and it's like, well, why not baseball? And yeah, I mean the injuries, the lack of pay, the timing of it all, I'm sure it
Another
plays into
part
all
of
that.
another part of this is the World Baseball Classic was created in 2006. So
Yeah.
this is not something that's existed for a long time. I mean,
They removed it
Gotcha.
from the Olympics.
yeah,
And-
it was a
and,
response to baseball not being
Just
an
to
Olympic
correct
sport
something,
anymore.
the World Baseball Classic uses MLB players. I'm looking at the rosters now.
Yeah,
so
it's all MLB players.
it's all MLB players.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, okay.
Like Japan might have some like Japanese league players, and I think Cuba might have a few Cuban league players. But for the most part, the best players are already playing in MLB, so it makes sense to keep them playing, like get the players from MLB, and then World Baseball Classic is essentially their spring training, as we've highlighted earlier.
Gotcha.
I also think too that the basketball benefited from the Dream Team, and they just
Oh.
had this glorified story behind it. Where baseball, you don't really have anything like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think once they used to send amateurs for the Olympics when that was still an Olympic sport, and that was also a thing where like people, it was all college students. So I think baseball should be back in the Olympics, and I do like the World Baseball Classic. I think baseball is pretty much taught growing up. There's like all these different leagues. And I think that's kind of like what makes baseball fun, is all these different leagues. And I think that's why the NBA is trying to develop these play-in tournaments, and is because that's how basketball is kind of taught when you're in adolescence, and even in college there's all these tournaments to get in, so you're kind of playing in all, and internationally there's all these like other tournaments, so I think they're trying to tap into those things, and I think baseball should do the same thing, is continue to develop the World Baseball Classic and get back, try to get baseball back as an Olympic sport.
Yeah, absolutely. All of that, and I'm sure numerous other points that we haven't hit on.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, this is really exciting time though. I love spring training, and I'm ready for the season to start. This, my hope hasn't been completely crushed yet. So it's a wonderful time of the year.
You're listening to the SVT podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell to get alerts when we post new episodes. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SVT Sports Pod. Slide into our DMs. We would love to interact with you.